Welcome to another Conversations in the Void. I am Graveyard. We are here. Let's do this. This is episode 3 of our new show. Let's get this going. Let's talk horror. And I am very pleased to introduce someone who I met last month doing an awesome movie. He is an actor, director, filmmaker, writer, father. Let's give it up for the one and only Hunter Nino. How's it going?
Hey man, everything's going good. How are you? Glad to be here. This is cool.
Good,
I love doing these.
Oh yeah. Like I said, as soon as I met you guys a couple weeks ago, I'm like, all right, I gotta get this show started. I met some really awesome people, including you. I'm ready to get into this. Are you ready to get some horror hound action going on?
I'm always ready. Always ready.
Awesome. Well, thank you again for being here. But let's get into how Hunter got into horror, right? So what really brought you into the world of horror, do you think? Do you have like a movie in particular that like you watch and go, hey, I gotta do this?
Oh man, I mean, let me start with I guess the first one I was ever subjected to, the original Exorcist. I remember being like super young. Gosh, I can't even remember. And I happened to walk into a room that it was playing, a living room. My family was watching it together, and they told me I needed to go to bed, and I wasn't tired. I remember that, and I remember it was the scene. I want to say it's a deleted scene, or maybe a scene that's in a bonus feature or something. It was playing on TV in particular, though, and it's where she like does that little crab walk down the stairs and turns her head around in a circle. That scared the death out of me when I was a kid. Hated that movie, refused to watch it for years, but there was something about horror and then getting into it. Then I started out like Halloween and Friday the 13th, you know, all the OGs, and then my love just kind of went through the roof, and I've been addicted ever since, man. That's all I watch every day, all day. People hate it. My wife gets sick of it, but you know, it is what it is. So
Oh yeah, I completely understand that. Sometimes my wife's just like, all right, we're done watching horror movies. But between this and the podcast, I watch probably 6 movies a week at top of that. But
dude, absolutely. And gosh, and then just kind of falling into it as an actor has been a blessing. So I couldn't be more blessed than that, you know, really, honestly.
So we had some really great conversations about horror movies. You know, you always said you had the unpopular opinion about some of the movies in the franchise, talking about like Halloween Ends and stuff like that. What would you say to you is the most overrated horror franchise?
Ooh, the most overrated horror franchise? Oh gosh. Oh man, that's a tough question. Overrated horror franchise. Man, I'd say probably Nightmare on Elm Street if I had to really throw one out there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I know it's probably unpopular, but I don't find the quality. It's not there for me, at least. I don't know. I enjoy them. I enjoy the original, but afterwards it's just kind of. But that's just kind of pulling a shot in the dark, honestly. I mean, I'm sure if I thought about it, I could give a better answer than that.
What would you think is the most underrated horror franchise or movie, really?
I'll do a standalone movie. I really like Devil by M. Night Shyamalan. There's something about that movie I've always loved, and it's not a very well-known horror movie, so I'd have to consider that pretty underrated for what it is. I think that's a great movie. I love the mystery element. I love the horror element. It has a good twist ending for what M. Night Shyamalan is known for. Right. Hopefully I'm saying his name right, but I mean that's always been a feel-good horror movie to me. So I don't know. There's just something about that one in particular where I'm like, I love that movie.
Oh yeah. Like I said, my off-screen producer and co-host is in the reading room right now, and he's probably screaming. He's like, that stupid toast scene with the jelly.
Man, I love it. I don't know what it is. I love that movie, man.
Yeah, I've watched it. I think it took me until last year to watch it the first time. Really? And I don't know why.
Okay. Wow. Okay. That's cool. So, also, you know what? I'll go for it. Real quick. So I go for another one, underrated. The original Paranormal Activity. While not the best movie in the world, the story behind the creation of that movie absolutely amazes me, and it kind of goes to show that if you have enough heart and I guess put the time and effort in, that you can do what Oren Peli did and make, you know, a phenomenal change in horror movies and like the direction that horror was going at the time. And he just, I mean, if you don't know the story behind the making of that movie, I encourage anybody watching this to kind of go check it out for themselves, because it's awesome. That's awesome.
Oh yeah, and I see a lot of stuff that Horror Dads is putting out is in the same really vein of Paranormal Activity. It's that the small knit community, it's the family and group of people making the lower budget horror movies, and just they're amazing so far. That everything you're saying.
Thanks, man. We appreciate it. We appreciate it. We make them for, it's all heart there. Horror Dads Productions, it's movies made by a group of dads that, have their lives and work 9 to 5s and find time to do something that they're passionate about. So, maybe the quality isn't there for some people, but it's definitely everything that we do is heart and soul. So, I mean, it's always good to receive compliments, and it's opened up a lot of doors for us. That's for sure. We've worked with a lot of amazing people, cast, crew alike. So.
Oh yeah. Yeah. But let's get into more what makes Hunter tick as an actor, filmmaker, producer, director, and everything. You're doing everything under the sun now, aren't you?
Trying to, man, while working a full-time job outside of that.
So how did you get into acting and filmmaking in particular, and how did you really get into horror dads? Can you tell us that story?
So almost a decade ago, not quite a decade ago. So roughly next year will be a decade. So 2014 and 2015 is when I really started getting into movie making. I took a class at a career technical school for video and audio production. Since then, the course has changed, but I did it at video and audio production, and I kind of fell in love with it, and I wish I would have stuck out with it. I did that for 2014, 2015, and then I kind of fell off. I went into something else, and then took a hiatus for many years, just took a break, and ended up becoming a law enforcement officer and doing a lot of stuff like that. And eventually I just left. It was no longer, a passion of mine to do law enforcement and a lot of other stuff. And, kind of happenstance, man, I fell into being able to work as a production assistant on a movie, was able to network so much. I ended up becoming an executive producer on the same movie as well as an actor in an end credit scene. And then from then I've been in, I couldn't even tell you how many movies in just a course of 2 years. That's kind of really kicked off, and meeting great people, Cheney Morrow and LC Holt and the horror dads that I work with, and working with some of the, girls that worked on the original Scream movie with Wes Craven, and just being able to do like crazy things, and even being able to play a serial killer myself on the movie we worked on together is like,
yes.
It's all happening so fast. I feel super fortunate and blessed to be able to do stuff like that. And it's like, sometimes I sit there like, what did I do to deserve this? Because it's a lot of people's dream to do something like that, man. And not a whole lot of people get the opportunity. And I guess the best piece of advice is if you want to do something, just go out and do it. I mean, that's all there is. I just went out and did it, and now I'm able to make movies 2, 3, 4 a year.
Yeah. What was that first movie that was your first acting gig? Do you recall?
Mothman actually was the first one that was released on Tubi. So that was directed by fellow horror dad member Joshua Brucker. Yep. Or Josiah Bruckner, as a lot of people like to mess up his name. He'll love that little nod right there if he sees this. But no, man, that was kind of the first one that I fell into. That's the first one that I did that ended up on Tubi and stuff. But again, that was happenstance. I was able to go out there as a production assistant, not knowing anybody that was working on the set of that movie, driving I want to say it was like 7 hours away from my house. But was able to network and make connections and get along with everybody. I ended up not only as a production assistant, but I jumped right up to executive producer and was an actor in that movie post-credit scene. So that movie alone just led to a ton of opportunity from the people I met,
Right. So, I got to see your process of getting into character, have been able to work with you on the movie that's coming out in the winter, right? So what is your process for getting into, I was very, very, pleasant and nice. You're very, especially, I don't want to give anything away from the movie that's come out yet, but when you're doing things, you're very vocal and say, okay, I'm gonna do this. It's okay if I do this, and you guys work it out. But how do you get into the character then for yourself?
A lot of the time, man, a lot of the stuff I do is improv. So I'm a non-traditionalist. I don't like scripts. I know it's kind of bad for anybody that might see this. If I'm given control to just kind of do what I want, I feel like I get a much better product out of myself. Obviously, if there's a script that I have to read or follow, I will. But my process is just to, I guess, for a second, step away from myself and try and get into the mindset of whoever it is I'm playing. And improving in that scenario is what always I found works best for me. And almost every movie I've done has been entirely improv on my end. A few scripted moments, but it's just, I don't know, that's kind of me. So I just step away from myself. And I think I was talking to you about it actually on the set of that movie. I've always wanted to try and go like method, like just to not get out of that mindset. It's always so hard though, because once you're on a set, I mean, everybody is so cool, and you just want to be able to talk to everybody, cast and crew alike. At least in my experience, in my opinion, because I love getting to know people and market and network. And so it's hard to want to be in that mindset, even though I want to do it, because I feel like if I were to go full method, it's like, oh, man, I can't hang out with you guys now. I got to go off and do my own thing and be, if I'm a jerk for a character, I'm going to have to be in the mindset of a jerk, or if I'm a smart ass, I'm going to have to be in the mind of a smart ass for a scene or something. But I don't know, man. I just like to get to know people. So,
oh, yeah.
My way is just stepping away and doing it, man.
Yeah, because I believe in the upcoming movie, The Woodmen, all that when you're playing the park ranger, right? That you all improv.
Yeah, not a single line of anything I spoke was scripted. When I watch it, everybody that does their own product is their own worst critic. So nobody's going to be harder on me than myself. So I watch it and I'm like, oh, man, I wish I could have done this, or I wish I would have said that, or, made this decision. But in the moment, it feels right. And if the director likes it, I mean, you got to go with it, and I've given, not to toot my own horn or anything. I hate doing that. I hate to be that guy, but everybody that has personally seen that I've talked to, or that has talked to me about that from a screener, or that was there, in person acting in the Woodmen, they've all said that they love my character. They really liked what I did with it. So I have to take that, man. I have to take that and kind of internalize it, because I look at it and I'm like, man, I wish I could have done this. I wish I could have done that. But we're all our own worst critics. So it's nice because that whole, like you just said, that whole movie was improv on almost everybody's part. It's just a basic format. Do this, get there, by however. So it worked. It was awesome.
Yeah. So with all the hats that you wear now with Horror Dads, and I know you're coming up with something out that I'm not going to spoil of anything right now, that one of my friends are able to make some posters for you for. What do you think is the hardest part to do? Is it the acting? Is it producing? Is it directing, writing?
It just kind of depends on the project, honestly. A lot of the time it's producing. And so the reason I say that is because to make a good movie, you don't need money. You really don't. But to get a great product and be able to do more than what you would be able to originally, you need money. I mean, it's kind of what makes everything. So being able to produce and gather money, or fundraise, or crowd, source, or whatever it is to get money and network, that's always going to be hardest for anybody, because getting money is hard in today's world. But outside of that, personally, if I'm not doing that, wearing that hat of an executive producer, or whatever it is, to me, it'd have to be the acting, because I feel like anybody could produce if you really knew people or had connections. And maybe I'm wrong about that, so nobody hang me or anything for saying that. Just I feel like anybody could produce if they really wanted to get involved in something, but not everybody can act. Hell, I don't even know if I can act. People keep hiring me, so it is what it is. I'm fortunate enough to be paid for everything I've done. I know a lot of people do a lot of work without getting paid at all, and so I mean that I'm fortunate and blessed with that. So maybe personally, it'd have to be the acting.
Now, with the stuff that's coming for you, are you finding it's any more fun to be behind the camera or in front of the camera, or do you like to just be kind of this Kevin Smith of both sides?
Man, my personality, I like to be in front of the camera. That's just me. If I can be in front of the camera, I do it all day long. I don't mind being behind the scenes, but just my personality and myself, I just choose to want to be in front. So,
yeah. Like I said, working with you, I got to see everything, all behind the scenes stuff, and like I said, it was great. Like I said, not going to spoil anything. We'll have Josh come on, you come on as well when these movies do come out eventually.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know that there is pre-production. Josh gave us the download that Woodmen 2 is happening, that Tahoe Joe 2 is happening. So far, yes. But with all the stuff you've done, even with your own movie that's coming out, right? What was the most challenging scene to shoot, either from the director, producer, or actor for you?
The most challenging thing to shoot?
Ooh.
I don't know, man. That's a hard question, because we've been so blessed that everything's just gone really smoothly. very, very few hiccups on almost any of our projects. I don't know if I really have an answer for anything that's been super difficult. The movie I'm directing that you've kind of mentioned while we've been talking, it's maybe that's the hardest just because I haven't really stepped into a huge director role yet.
Mm-hmm.
I've got something out there, but there were people in place that helped, and I always trust those that are willing to help too, as long as I know them. I don't trust everybody, but as long as somebody's willing to help. Dylan and Josh have been huge influences and role models and peer mentors to kind of help me walk through a lot of that stuff. So I give a lot of credit to them for almost anything I've done. Their level of knowledge is out of this world. Again, my skills just largely come with just being able to network and act, man. I mean, that's questionable too, if I'm even a good actor, like I said earlier. So
oh yeah, no, I like I said, without saying anything, I thought your role in the upcoming movie that I was part of was outstanding, and being able to see that was just perfect because, as I said, not spoiling anything, but you had to do full body acting for that role.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, that was. Yeah, I don't think I uttered a single word in that.
No.
Maybe I made a noise. I don't know. I don't even know. That's good.
So, I'm doing some research on you. Obviously, I know that you're still a police officer, correct?
No.
Okay.
No.
But you were a police officer.
Yes.
Did you find that helped you make anything to your thought process change to help your career that you're working on? Do you think it was able to contribute anything to it?
No, actually, I think it makes it a lot harder. Being in law enforcement, and this probably goes for almost any law enforcement officer out there, it changes the person. Mm-hmm. You have to develop a lot thicker skin. You have to be a lot more tough, appearing and maybe mentally than what most people would have to carry themselves as. So actually, I find it inhibits me a lot because there are some times where I have to step out of my comfort zone and be a little bit, more of somebody I'm not. I don't let my guard down a lot, and that's just always been me to begin with, but it kind of gets amplified when you work in law enforcement. So stepping out of my comfort zone and doing certain scenes that might come off as embarrassing or having to appear, weaker or something else, that does really sit differently, I guess, in my mind, because I just have that other mindset of having to be strong all the time and keep walls up, and if that makes sense.
Oh yeah. So you saying you don't want Michael Rock to come save you and carry you out through the doorway?
Man, I gotta look out for myself too. But no, Michael Rock, bless his heart, man. We're gonna be in a movie together very soon. Yeah, it's been implied that we're longtime friends, but connections will be made soon. So, keep an eye out for that. We've got some crazy ideas coming down the pipeline. So,
I know. Like I said, I'm not spoiling any of that stuff. I'm excited for all the stuff that's coming down. So have you gone to any cons to help promote what you're doing, or as an actor to, like, especially horror cons? It's something that I think you're part of that. I know Josh and Dylan and I have been discussing helping get to, like, 2024, the year of the cons, and you're not that far away from us. Would you be willing to go with us to help just promote the brand and bring it out there and get more public attention to Horror Dads?
Oh man, I'd be willing to do anything, con wise or traveling wise, for premieres or whatever it is. Where time and money permits is a place that I love to be. This is my lifestyle. I've kind of fallen into this, so no regular job will ever be as good as being able to do this stuff, in my opinion. I've heard the old adage of, if you love what you do for work, you don't work a day in your life, or something along the lines of that. So even though this is a job, not full-time by any means, I'm a part-time full-timer, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
This is not a full-time job by any means, but I get paid, so it is a job to me. And I never have ever once on a set, no matter if it's been a 16 or 18-hour day or a few hours here and there, have ever felt like I've been at work. It's just, I love being around like-minded individuals and creative individuals. So that goes to say, if it's a con or movie festival or film festival, whatever it is, I'm always going to be there just because it's what I want to do.
Oh yeah. I'm excited. Like I said, 2024 is the year of the horror cons, at least for the podcast, and getting you guys out there too. I'm pushing to get this going.
Absolutely, man.
But we did find some research that says you founded Parachute. Is that correct?
Yeah, Parachute, man. That's back in, oh goodness gracious, when was that? 2015 into 2016, when I started my freshman year at university out in Adrian, Michigan. Parachute was the paranormal research group at Siena Heights University. That's what the little SHU at the end of that is. Me and a few other people were able to start that, which was actually kind of notoriously difficult, being at a private Catholic university. They have their reservations about looking for demons or ghosts or whatever else it is, man. So I was one of the original founders of that, and then I was the first president of that for probably almost 2 years, I want to say. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but I think I was president for either a year and a half, 2 years. I ended up stepping down and just kind of worked a lot of behind the scenes, but whew, that was a fun time. Lots of crazy stuff. You know, I'm a skeptic at heart myself, but some of the stuff that I've seen there or experienced doing Parachute, out of this world cool. So I don't know if it's still a thing anymore though. That'd be something to have to look into. I know it lasted long after I left, but I'm not sure. That's probably that's just a long time ago. I mean, that's almost 10 years ago now. So
yeah. Did you happen to find any piece of evidence, as we've discussed, and listeners know that we are working on something behind the scenes a little bit down the road that obviously we'll say the name, I don't care, state's unknown. But
yeah,
did you find anything working Parachute that made you question kind of this part, and do you think that'll help us as we go into our next venture that we're planning?
Oh, there were definitely things I can't explain, and I look for every avenue. It's just kind of the investigative mind I have, or maybe curious mind I have. There are definitely things that happen on the campus, outside the campus, and external investigations that I couldn't quite explain. And Adrian has, several different ghost stories attached to a couple different locations. So, I mean, you just got to take it or leave it. With my skeptic mind, it's just, I look for the truth, I guess. And so whether or not it's talking to people or experiencing something, that's where I am, man.
Now, from our discussions, you have maybe a haunted doll, do you not?
Well, something like that. We won't talk about it in my house, though.
Oh, okay. That's perfectly fine. So, do you want to explain to viewers listening right now in the future kind of what our goal is with States Unknown?
Yeah, that's fine. Let me explain a little bit of what States Unknown is for anybody that's watching this. So States Unknown is a concept I thought of years ago. Have always wanted to do something with it, never really touched on it, but just think of like the old, sci-fi travel channel shows like Destination Truth or Ghost Hunters, Ghost Adventures, Fact or Fake, Paranormal Files, I think it was called, Haunted Collector. Just kind of a show that falls in line with all of those. States Unknown is just that type of show that I thought of. That's a reality show. It's just a group of friends that go out and look for certain things throughout the continental United States. Just kind of, getting together and figuring out, going investigating cool stories and stuff. So it's just a concept that I made, and I don't want to give too much away with it, but
right.
I'm excited to film, I guess what would be known as our pilot episode soon, hopefully within the next year, maybe a year or two for sure. So, definitely talking to you guys about that has been cool and exciting. And I don't know if we should talk more or what's going on with it. We're all busy, so we're slowly but surely getting that idea around again while Horror Dads is filming all these movies and while we're working full-time jobs, all of us ourselves. So.
Oh yeah. I plan on, like I said, especially the pilot, I'm not going to give anything away, but I'm sharing the documents. I plan on doing a lot of research and trying to get a hold of a lot of people, especially in the areas that we're going to do. So I'm excited for it to go off. You see my equipment list.
Yeah, no, 100%, man. It's cool. I'm excited for it. It'll be something I think everybody will like. Hopefully. It's that feel good stuff to me. Brings a little bit of nostalgic memories just from growing up watching all the shows I mentioned before. So
yeah. Well, we have about 5 minutes left, so it's time for the hardest questions of Hunter's life and horror. What's your favorite scary movie?
Oh, man, I might just have to go with Devil, dude. There's something about that movie that I watch, and it's just that feel good movie that I can sit down and relax to. And it's like, no matter how many times I've seen it, it always keeps my attention. It's not going to be everybody's favorite, but short answer, Devil.
Nice. Practical or CGI?
Oh, practical, 100%. The Thing original versus 2011's The Thing.
Oh yeah, I don't know anyone's going to say CGI that's on the show. Honestly,
no. I'll say it, CGI. No, I'm just kidding. Practical for sure, man.
So with all your upcoming work that you have going on there, and we discussed briefly on our long weekend. I say long because hour-wise long. What would be your ideal IP to work in, to make a movie in? Is there anything that you'd like? Hey, I'd love to make the next Hellraiser movie or the next, Amityville horror movie or something like that.
Nothing Amityville. I can tell you that right now. Nothing Amityville. Oh man, if I could make an IP movie, man, honestly, I'd love to be involved in like either Resident Evil or Paranormal Activity type movie.
Ooh. Paranormal Activity would be fantastic, I think.
That would be neat. I'd like to do something like that. I'm sure there's probably millions of other things I could say, but just off the top of my head with the time crunch, probably one of those two. I love Resident Evil, so.
Oh, I do too, but most people don't like that franchise, unfortunately.
I grew up playing all the video games, so movies aside, I'm still a fan of the games, at least, if anything. So
nice. So, do you have any advice for anyone trying to get into the filmmaking business now that you've done a couple movies that you're working on stuff yourself?
Don't be afraid to reach out to anybody. Don't be annoying about it for sure, but don't be afraid, to send an email, or if there is somebody that's posting something that says, feel free to message me. Don't be afraid to take the risk, and don't beat yourself up if you get told no. I've had people tell me they absolutely love my acting, and I've auditioned for things where they have quickly said no. So, I mean, you just can't let that stuff get to you. You got to have kind of a thick skin, because not everybody in the world is going to like what you do. It doesn't matter how good you are at it. There's always going to be a hater. So if you want to get into it, the quickest way to get into it is just to start looking and do it.
Awesome. Now, we're going to pick a trivia card for horror games. And just for anyone watching, and I keep a tally from our guests as well, and we're going to keep a running spreadsheet. I'm going to ask you a horror trivia question. No pressure on getting it right, just for fun. Name the movie with the tagline, "In space, no one can eat ice cream."
In space, no one can eat ice cream?
Yes.
This isn't Killer Clowns from Outer Space, is it?
It is.
There we go. Got it.
Awesome. Yeah, so we're just about wrapping up. This 30 minutes has gone by fast for me. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I want to keep talking, man. 30 minutes, jeez.
Yeah, well, we'll have to have you on again.
Absolutely.
Maybe even do a tier list with me one day.
Oh, yeah, we could do that for sure. Absolutely. That'd be fun. I've always wanted to do one of those.
Yes, we'll plan that out. We'll schedule that out. But in the meantime, where can anyone find your information? Where can we follow you and find out all the upcoming movies and stuff that you're doing?
Go ahead and follow me on Instagram. That's basically turned into my professional account at this point. If you want to keep up with anything Horror Dads does, you could follow their Facebook page, or I say there, but I mean our Facebook page, Horror Dads Productions. Dads is spelled with a Z at the end, so DADZ. You could follow me on Facebook, or really whatever, any of my socials. I don't have a bunch. I don't have like a Twitter or X as it is now. I just mainly Instagram or Facebook for me or our company. So Twitter, Horror Dads does have a Twitter, so you could follow us there too, or X, whatever you want to call it now.
I still call it Twitter.
Yeah, but I mean, anything Horror Dads you can follow, or if you wanted to keep up with just me, you can follow my social, Hunter Nino, Facebook, or what is my Instagram one? I think it's Hunter Nino with an underscore on my Instagram. Yeah. So
yes, I do have the links to your imDb page in the description below as well. So make sure to check that out. And thank you, Hunter, for joining on. After the show, if you want to stick around, I'll stop the stream. We just have a fun little chat afterwards too.
Sure, man. I'm game for it. I appreciate you having me on, though. And anybody that does view this or is viewing this, I don't know how many viewers there are, but thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Hopefully you like our stuff.
Yes. So thank you, Nino, Hunter, for joining us. It was an awesome show. Can't wait to have you back on. And for a little quick outro, I am Graveyard, co-host of the Mostly Pilot Night Mostly podcast. You can find that anywhere at Comic-Con Radio and all archival at all places you can get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, everything like that. And make sure to like, comment, subscribe to this video, and share it out so we can give away great prizes. The more subs we get, the more prizes we're giving out. So until next time, we'll see you in the void. And next week, for anyone listening, is Dylan Brown of Horror Dads. Make sure to check out next week as well. And we'll see you next time. Bye.